Hi friends, Bill McCabe, and we're continuing our dialogue and presentation referencing Cobra concepts and Cobra technique and coiling action. I didn't mention this in the first video, but in the internal arts this is sometimes referred to as silk reeling. In the Filipino arts, the Polynesian arts, sometimes it's referred to as something like sinawali. And it always has to do with a reeling or a weaving kind of pattern. And you might want to think about that to help gain an understanding as to how this flow works and how it looks in 3 dimensions. Getting right to the point, though, I'm going to invite Sensei Terry to come out and assist today. You've all met Sensei Terry in past videos. Generally what happens is before I throw something on the video, Terry will participate in one of the classes that I do in the Northwest. And she'll have an opportunity to get some introduction to an idea so that she can help physically present the idea to you. So she's just being very generous with her time. Well, thank you. And we're going to pick right up with the 2 energies that we talked about in the last video, the yang energy and then the yin energy. And I'm going to show you 2 ways to set that up in working with a partner. But today, we're going to focus only on the yang aspect. Okay? So we're going to set up in opposing stance. Now, if you look at, put the video on our feet, I call this opposing stance because as we're standing, we're facing opposing sides of the room. So if I said same stance or same side stance, it would be like this, where our eyes, our vision is facing the same side of the room. Okay, but we're going to do this setting up as opposing. And we're setting it up from an outside position. And what I'm going to do here is the yang flow, or the yang teacupping action, in full blossom. And then she's going to counter with the same thing directed toward me. Now we're not going to get ahead of ourselves here. This is very basic steps here. We're going to talk about how to lay this out, and then later on we're going to talk about dynamic flows and improvised flows, and how this can be orchestrated to be integrated into everything that you're doing. We're just taking baby steps today. So we're here, and I exert energy forward, around, up, and over. Okay. She goes back, up and over, around, up and over, up and over. Now, there's something really important that's happening here that I want you to get. There's a flow, and we're riding each other's flow. And at any point in time in that flow, either one of us can strike, unless the other person is so on top of the flow that they're able to respond instinctively and coast over that. It's much like a surfer riding on top of a wave. So for example, as I'm executing the flow to completion here, I'm about to push forward and hard into her, and I'm going to fire. And she just lets that energy dissipate, rides it, and you can see it, and then she converts it to her flow, goes completely around, does a full movement, and she's going to push me hard, and I just drain her energy, and then convert it back to myself. She takes my energy out, dissipates it, comes back. I do a short move, come in. She does a short move, comes back. I do a big move. Try to trick her. She rides it, has no problem with it, okay? Now watch. Opposite side. See how I crossed over? Back. Relaxing. Up. Opposite side. Say she tries to hit me on the head with the other hand, that's it. And I try to hit her back. Sneak one in. You can start to see how this blending together does a very nice job of protecting you. Okay, so that's the flow. Now, these are yang moves from the outside in, or yang moves which initiate as we are opposite leg forward. I'm going to show you the same yang move with the same side position. So we're same leg forward. And I'm doing exactly the same move. Now, I don't want for her to react this time. See, when I was doing it before, I was staying outside the person, keeping the person's tools trapped, and basically setting up for offensive moves. This time, I'm using the positive energy to open up a person's defensive position, again, setting up potential offensive move. This is stealing the inside. Now, what she's going to do is counter that. I mean, remember what I said, the whole thrust of this philosophy is how to counter and how to steal that incoming energy and neutralize it and then bring it back to the attacker. So watch. I execute the yang, and just as I'm about to fire, she slips, goes under, and executes it back at me. And you can see how beautifully smooth this is. Now I know it's hard to get this as you're looking in, so I'm going to show you exactly what we're doing here in the transition. She executes on me. She's the attacker, in other words. And as she's about to explode, bring the camera right over here. She's about to explode on me. I ride the energy of her hand and transition. Now this is the classic high block that you've been training in the martial arts for years. Okay, in the internal arts it has different names, but in the hard style arts it's just a high block. And high blocks are excellent transition geometry. So as you learn more about flow and internal energy, you'll find that the high block geometry is something that works beautifully whenever you need to transition from one particular geometric sequence to another. So we're here, and she's doing the coil around me. She's trying to trap me, and just as she explodes on me, I high block, I convert the energy back, I fire on her. She does the same thing, slips me, goes underneath, comes in, see how that works. And I think you can see it clearly now. Comes underneath and coils. I go in, I drive, she coils, I coil, and so forth. On the other side, so you get a different perspective, same move. I initiate, I go in, I fire, she slips, she initiates, fires. And just like the other move, you can do this big or small. It can be as small as you want for it to be. See? It can get very small, very quick. See, look, it becomes almost nothing. And you just becomes the energy that's in your head, and you start to be able to read it on a person. And they can't stick anything by you, and it becomes big again. Okay. Now that's very good for Terry, just being relatively new to the concept. You can see how much confidence she's gained in just a short period of time. Thank you, Terry. This is pretty complicated stuff, and I respect that. And the other reason I'm recording this is because you can't really learn how to do this in a book, and there's not really a lot of guys showing you how to do this. There are guys with videotapes out there that will show you one section of this or one idea about this, and there's a few of them out there that are quite excellent, you know. And if you want to research that further, I encourage you to do that. Basically, though, it's mastering this flow and remembering that you have the outside positions and the inside positions, and how you sort of dissipate the energy both inside and outside. And you work on that for a bit, and before long we're going to come back and we're going to take a look at the shadow side, or the yin side, and bring this flow to full completion within our presentation. Until then, though, I want you all to stay well and do well, and keep us in your thoughts, and we'll see you down the road.